Hello and welcome to the Perth Blue Baggers pod. My name is Louis, your host.
And I'm Marty on special comments.
Today we're using a bit of a different format than what we usually do in person. So if there's a delay or it just sounds a little different, just keep that in mind. But anyway, today we will be reviewing an absolutely marvellous match against Geelong, headlined by Cripper's fabulous clutch goal at the end, game-winning goal, which I've never heard a roar louder than that since this 2023 semi-final. It's taken us 3 years.
Just amazing. Certainly our best win of the season and one of the greatest Carlton games in recent years. It probably sits alongside that great win in Brisbane, if you recall, at the start of 24, where we came back from nowhere to win. And alongside that one, possibly one of our best wins since that great semi-final win that you referred to. So, and look, it came off the back of 4 quarters of really competitive effort.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference. We've not collapsed in a heap in any of those games. There's not been, huge bursts against us. Now they did get away from us a little bit in the first quarter, but we hung in there and we clawed them back in the second. I think in some ways it's better if we consolidate rather than come out of the gate sometimes. Yeah, but certainly the second quarter was really good. But the third and fourth quarters I thought were great. It's being able to perform in the clutch, in the clutch, and you talked about that huge mark of Cripps. That's just crucial. We weren't seeing. We just lacked confidence when the going got tough and when matches were close. We didn't believe we could win somewhat. So I think. That's one of the things that we're seeing now. And look, I just was so excited to see Cripps of all players stand up, because this is the same guy who was written off so many times. How many times we hear people call him to be traded at the end of the season?
I can think of at least 5 different commentators speaking about it.
Yeah. It's just, that just goes another reason why you got to be cynical about just believing all the crap that you see in the media sometimes.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, I keep that in mind. I think Cripps has also come out and said that if you look at my passion and the way I play the game, I think you'll get a pretty good answer on why I want to stay with the Carlton Football Club. It's something along the lines he said, paraphrasing. So I think he's not going anywhere. His form isn't going anywhere. He's been absolute defiant in his leadership to win us these last 3 games. And really, it puts us back on the map. I wouldn't say, obviously, as a genuine contender or anything, but we've got something to play for this season at least. It's not going to be a wasted year like many people were claiming.
I think that's the way to see things. You don't get ahead of yourself, but with this wildcard round, anything's possible. I mean, it's still got a lot ahead of us. I mean, I think probably by most people's reckoning, you probably need to still win 8 of their last 11 games. But it's funny, when you're in winning form is good form, and if you're playing well, any game's winnable. So, I think while you're in the hunt, you throw everything at it. But there's something about winning. I've never believed the pundits when they'd say just, shut up shop, play kids. And I believe in playing kids anyway. But, look, it's better if you finish lower because you get a higher trademark. That's just
tanking that rubbish, yeah.
It's just rubbish. It like Melbourne did it for years and years and years, I've got to say. Carlton even finished at the bottom for many years in a row. It never made a difference. So people need to – winning form's good form, but people want to be part of winning teams.
Yeah.
So you just look at the expression on our players' faces now versus 3 weeks ago. Those guys are going to want to be at the club next year.
Yes. Pure jubilation on, I think, most notable, Jagger Smith. Just seen some of his reactions at the end. He's in pure joy, joyous crying. It's
no, you
just
can
like
just
us.
see his enthusiasm and passion being there. That says it all. One of the great young stars of the game, and he's just loving being at the club at the moment.
Yeah.
So I thought we might look at a few things that have changed in the last 3 weeks. And
Most certainly. That's the question that everyone's wondering.
Look,
what do you
it's
got
never
for us?
one thing. It's never one thing. It's not even necessarily the whole game plan's changing, but I'll point out some changes. But actually, I think it's the way our players are going about it more. The first thing I would say is effort. Effort is always crucial in any game. And the desperation that's been on show recently has been extraordinary. And I think if you singled out the area, and you've heard me say this before, one of the things that really matters is the desperation of your forwards to keep the ball in the forward line. And so just in the last game alone, there was 15 pressure acts by Taylor Byrne, 14 from Francis Evans, 13 from Jack Ison, 12 from Brody Kemp, 12 from Ainsworth, and 11 by Flynn Young. They were all amongst the top pressure acts. So suddenly our forwards want to keep the ball in there, and they're prepared to run and chase and tackle to do it. And some of those guys like Byrne and Ison and Young, they hadn't even really been given a go. Let's face it.
Do you remember Byrne's crashing tackle?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, that was one of the highlights of the game. That was just ferocious. Yeah, that was brilliant. That was one of my highlights. I just love what determines whether your player really wants to be out there is the work they do when they don't have the footy.
Yeah.
And it was sensational. Love that. That was one of my highlights of the game.
And there was plenty of goals that came from it, from the forward
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I don't care how good the team is. Any team susceptible to sustain pressure.
Yeah.
Any team in the league. So that's, and Geelong are a very good football team. The second thing is run, right? How many times earlier this year did we see a turnover and the opposition seemed to have man after man free in the middle or up the ground or even up forward line? And that was just the thing that, you go, how can this happen? And you saw videotape that show our boys just jogging. Suddenly, everyone's running a lot more, and that happens much less. And that's actually been a crucial point in how our defensive figures, I'm sure you've got some stats to back this up, have gone from being one of the worst in the league to one of the best. It's actually not that complex. It's about whether you're getting numbers back. Because if you're trying to defend a lot more fellas than you have, it's almost an impossible task. If you're getting a lot of spare men back all of a sudden, that's crucial. So I think that run is the second thing that I would point out as the difference.
I'll just share some stats that back up your point there. So from round 0, opening round to 9, points against, we were at average of 101.3, and now from round 10 to 12 is 68. So that's a huge difference there.
Extraordinary difference. Yeah.
And uncontested marks, which is always a good marker for how much we're running as well. We were 13th in that from the first 9 rounds, and now we are first in that respect.
There you go. There's 2 really good stat lines that tell the truth there.
Yes, and I will go into some more a little later. We'll go on to your third point.
No, my third point, I've got 5 in total. Efficiency. So, and I think that's probably linked to confidence, but we're just simply hitting our targets more, and we're much more cleaner in the contests. When you saw guys like Jagger, his work on the ground is just sensational. Cripps himself has looked cleaner. A lot of our players coming through, and some of those young fellas like Ison is very clean with the footy. That's efficiency is, and I don't know. I'm not necessarily blaming the coach here because, you can train all your guys, but on the ground they've got to do it, and they just have been They've been hitting targets more, cleaner in the contests, and that means that when you're going to launch your attacks, you can actually do it with confidence because people are using the ball. Have you ever seen how many times we've hand passed forward of late? We weren't doing
Yeah.
that before. That's a very attacking move, but it's got to pay off because your players are streaming forward to do it. If they don't have the confidence you're going to hit them, they won't be running forward like that.
Yeah.
So my third point's efficiency, which has changed enormously, I think.
I agree. Yep. I have a few stats on that. So to do with how we enter inside 50, I think it's to do with a lot of the kicks and the handballs, as we said. The kick long percentage under Voss was 9th, and now we're 18th. So you want to be last on that list for that.
Yeah.
So first in the league, essentially for that reason. 45-degree kicks. Under Voss, we were 15th, and now under Fraser, we're 3rd. And kick inside 50 retention percentage, we were 6th under Voss, and under Fraser, we're now 2nd. So we moved up 4 there.
Now, the points you just made, they're linked to both our efficiency and to my next point. So your stats speak there as well. My next point is less dump kicks and more targeted passes.
There you go.
Yeah. So we're handballing a lot more. We're hitting up targets a lot more. So the thing that always frustrates me is when our players are under pressure or they lack confidence or whatever, they just throw the ball in the boot. Yeah. And that almost always it leads to a turnover. Right? Almost never. You can get lucky occasionally, but most of the time it leads to a turnover. That's happening a lot less often now. So Jacob Smith's a good example here. He's been playing more in the centre, as everyone's been talking about. He almost never dump kicks. He always seeks to use the ball well. And he doesn't always hit his target. No one does. But you won't see him dump kicking. And guys, clever footballers try to use the ball well. So we're simply, he has really good vision. He's been hitting up leads. And going inside 50, we've been hitting up leads. Some people pointed out there we're actually playing like we trained in the preseason. So and that's why I think some people that's why some people are saying, "Oh, look, Voss laid the foundations." I think that he was trying to get them to coach like this, play like this, but they either wouldn't or couldn't. Maybe they were lacking too much confidence just from close losses and the like, and maybe it was a mixture of frustration and pressure. But they simply weren't doing this well. You talked about simply those 45-degree passes. That's vision.
Yeah.
That's being able to work out that's not just the guy in front of you, it's the guy this way or the guy to your left or to your right that matters. So that's just clever use of the football is the last one. The last point I've got is positional changes. I think we're seeing a lot more players rotated through the midfield than we were. I think we're seeing Harry played upfield more and into the ruck, and it's giving him new lease on life because he's not being judged solely on how many goals he's kicked or how many marks he takes inside 50. So he's still got the freedom. You'll see him go up to the 50, up to the forward line now and again. But I think he's a very good marker, lead and mark, and he can do that up the ground a bit more as well. So he's giving us a target point, and he's getting more involved. And I think it's been a helpful chop out occasionally for Pitnet because we're only playing the one ruck. So that's quite smart. Hayward's playing more in the wing, so he's getting more of the football, I think, than he's got previously. And his game was superb. He's in most people's top 5, but I think he's playing different positionally. Even Chera has been pulled out of the centre bouncers. He's playing more in the wing, which I think's freed him up a little bit as well. He's probably more naturally a running player than a contested player anyway. So it's freed him up to run more. I mean, it hasn't helped that Carroll and both the Holland boys have gone down, but I think that's actually liberated him a little bit more as well. So we're getting more running from a player like that. And then, of course, as we've mentioned, it's guys like Ison and Young and to some extent Byrne that wasn't getting much of a go have now been backed in. So, some positional changes, some smart positional changes as well.
Yeah, for sure. So you've got to give credit to Fraser for that too. It's probably coming from him. The last stat I would say is the defensive 50 to inside 50 percentage. We were 15th under Voss, and now under Fraser, we are second.
Mm-hmm.
Ball movement.
Well, I think ball movement is spot on, and it's a product of a lot of things that we've just been talking about there.
Yeah.
So you're not going to have good ball movement if you just do dump kicks. You've got to use the ball well. You've got to have good vision. You've got to link up. Modern football is about using the ball well and moving it quickly. But it's not about moving it quickly by just kicking long, because a lot of teams, they position guys behind the ball, so you can't just kick long to it. Often you're kicking long to 1-on-2, aren't you?
Yeah.
We were very predictable. We're winning a lot of the contested football and then bombing it. So I don't think that's happening so much anymore. Yeah,
it's very good to see. Yeah.
So a lot of material differences that are there. So, like I said, it's never one thing. Not all of those things. Some of those things, it's a mixture of some positional changes and selection changes, but it's also about simply doing what we're trying to do much better and more effectively.
Yeah. Yeah. So, look, if only we did this earlier in the year, we would have been in a much better position. But hey, at least there's some green shoots, and I think we are slowly proving to a new coach that's going to come in that there's something here to sort of cultivate.
Yeah, look, if you're a potential coach and you're looking at what you're seeing now, I tell you what, there's a bit to work with, isn't there? And whilst the Bombers are deciding whether they want James Hird to coach or not, Carlton is getting on with winning games, and it's pretty much genuinely an open slather contest. So I'd expect there's a few of the best assistants and potential new coaches putting up their hands.
Sure. So rather than us chasing them, they're going to be chasing us, which is probably the way to go.
Graham Wright's probably got a ton of names on the list, very, very long list. Speaking to as many of them as possible, working out what their plans and how they want to go about it, encouraging the right people to apply, and gradually whittling those down by season's end.
Yep. So it's in the hands of those who know best. But the players are certainly doing their job to try and prove themselves, and who knows, make something of this season. Yeah.
Well, I think everyone aims to play finals, but even if we don't play finals, if we finish the season really well, I think then there's a fair bit of promise there.
Yeah.
Right. And
I think the players have enough passion to try and even get to wildcard. They seem, in their interviews, I think Hayward once said maybe a week or two ago, "Oh, we're going to try and get to wildcard or whatever." But we'll see how that goes.
We'll say, look, I wouldn't get ahead of ourselves. We're still at the end of the day 4-8, which is a fair way off wildcard. I looked at where we are in the ladder. Sure, we started 16th when we were 1-8. We're 14th now, so marginally better. But we're 2 full games in heap of percentage away from 8th at the moment. So that's a fair bit of work to do. Like I said, I think you probably need at least 12 wins, 12 and 11 probably to play there, and that's 8 of the next 13.
Yeah.
It's doable. But it's look, I think you just got to, I know it's just a cliche, but it's just got to take it one game at a time.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
It's a tall order. It's one game at a time, and just play your best football. Do all those things that we've been talking about, and then see what happens.
Yeah, and I kind of like this sort of underdog status we have going into these games, which might do a bit of good for us, actually.
I definitely reckon momentum is a helpful thing. You never. Just as you can, we were losing games we should have won in the first half of this year. Clearly a better team that just panicked, couldn't get itself together. We will win games we shouldn't have won if we're in good form. because the players believing in themselves,
Yeah.
bringing all those qualities in, and some of the other teams panicking when we put them under pressure. So anything's possible.
Yep. 1 week at a time. So now we move into the notable performances, our MVP votes. I find it kind of hard, apart from the obvious number one choice. I think we probably both had the same for that.
Yeah. Oh, look, I was the same. So the first one, I just thought it's got to be a lay down Mazea, but the others were tricky because there was a lot of people. So top one, but look, you got to give it this guy is Patrick Cripps.
Yes.
The guy is just an absolute gun. It's not just that he had 30 touches and by far the most contested possessions for the team, not just the most clearances, 8 in the team. It wasn't just the dominated. It's more that when the game was there to be won, he just stood up. And it wasn't just the mark. I mean, the mark was the absolute climax. I mean, he'd had 10 possessions, 10 huge possessions in the last quarter alone in a tight game, at fever pitch with a huge crowd and a great opponent. He just stood tall when it really mattered. And, the mark, So, P. Cripps, 3 votes. Guaranteed. Lock it in now for the Brownlow. Round 12, mate. Lock it in.
So obviously I gave him the 5 votes there. 7 scoring involvements as well, and 7 ground balls to add to the stats you already said. So, undoubtedly number one pick. Also, I would like to mention, I think he was getting tagged early on too, and that didn't seem to harm him eventually.
I think he just outworked his opponent. He just kept at it the whole way through. And I think if you even look at, he was right in the center square. He was at the start of that play and ran forward to take that mark. So add an extra number in there, and actually they had an assessment of the Geelong defence, and I think he caught them out because some guy ran. I think one of his direct opponent ran with him, but then there was someone else that hadn't picked up. Anyway, he got free. So but his work ethic was just sensational. He just willed himself into the contest, and he willed the team over the line.
Yep. Even after that goal, he put in a big tackle on Dangerfield, I think it was, and a clearance, I think.
Yeah. He's arguably in the Brownlow votes for each of the last 3 games.
Yeah. 3, 6, 9. He'd have 9.
Brilliant. 4 votes. Look, just that gets harder, not because for very good reason.
Yes.
Because there are just simply so many good players. Look, in the end, I gave it to Sam Walsh. Could have given this to a number of players, but Walsh was simply superb. In fact, he might have been up there with Cripps if he'd kicked that goal after that superb play where he ducked and weaved and beat about 3 defenders, 3 or 4 defenders on his own. If he'd finished that, and that was in the 4th quarter. But look, he worked hard all game. He just impacted the contest repeatedly. It's not just a numbers game for him. He is one of those guys that runs and gives you that extra number. He's having a really excellent year. And even throw in a game high 7 tackles if you don't mind. I mean, this is a guy that does it all. Superb.
Yep. For 4 votes for me, I had Jagger Smith, 27 disposals, 5 score involvements, 6 clearances, 6 inside 50s, and 9 ground balls. As you said, his vision, his way he weaves through traffic, his ball use is sublime. I think he had a very big game and continues to solidify his rising star. Favorite chances.
He's got to be the favourite. Someone said that he's light years ahead of every other first-year player in terms of coaches' votes. Someone else will have those numbers, but he is a superstar. He was in my votes too, just with the 2. And like I said, you could throw a blanket over the players after Cripps, but he was sensational. Just his vision and poise. He adds class when he's in the middle. Yeah. So it was fantastic.
Yes. So I had a little look. I don't have the specific stats, but I had a look to see the change under Fraser to see for the amount of centre bounce attendances he's been having, and it's been increasing, well, percentage-wise, from about 30 odd percent under Voss to 50 now.
Yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me one little iota, you know. And it's helped the team because he used the ball so well.
Yeah.
So that was so my 3 went to Jacob Wiedering. You know how much I respect defenders. Wieders has been back to his best in recent weeks, and he was sensational, really sensational. Team high 11 marks, just really dominated in the air. He kept us in the game in the first quarter in particular. He was, pushing back wave after wave of defenders, and we talked about how you need your leaders to step up when things aren't going your way. And just as Cripps was sensational in the fourth quarter, he was sensational in the first, but he didn't let up. He was a real giant today, and I think he deserved some recognition for that.
I agree, and he kept Shannon Neal to 1 goal.
Yeah.
So
he kept his direct defender quiet, but he also intercepted and was the third man up on a number of key spots. So that was my 3. There.
He also 5 rebound 50s, 95% disposal efficiency, and 3 intercept marks for Wiedering. Let me do my sorry.
I was just going to point out, really late in the game, there was that moment where he showed a lot of poise, and I think he was getting tackled, and he had one hand free, and he got a kick over to the side, but it was right near the boundary, so someone else could walk it over. He actually got penalised, but he showed a lot of composure in a number of key contests, which I liked.
Yep. My 3rd vote goes to Will Hayward, who's really doing quite well in the last 4 weeks. He had 17 disposals, 7 marks, 7 score involvements, 3 goals, and 324 metres gained. So he's kicked 9 goals in the last 4 weeks, averaging 19 disposals, 7 marks, and 3.4 inside 50s. So he's really getting into his groove in navy blue.
Yeah, he was sensational. Really, he was sensational. He was in my votes too. He got the 1 vote for me. And like I said, you could pick him anywhere from 4 through to 1. And to get 3 goals in a match like this, and they were big goals. They were big goals. That one that Roost had again from 50 was just superb. And he's kicking goals whilst playing up the field a fair bit and getting a lot of the ball as well. So he's playing a good all-round game and still hitting the scoreboard now. The last couple of games are exactly why the Blues rated him so highly and why they wanted him for the Curnow trade.
And before that too.
And before that, they tried to get him last year, earlier. So, and he's starting to deliver, and that's okay. People take a while to adjust to new environments, but he's starting to really show why he's the classy guy that they wanted. Yes,
I agree. It's very good to see. Your 2nd vote?
Well, so I had Cripps, Walsh, Wiedering 3, Jagger 2. We talked about Jagger 2 and Will Hayward 1. So they were my 5. So that we kind of covered those 5. I've got plenty of other notable performances which we can get to, but they were my 5.
Yes. Mine 5 is Cripps, Jagger, Hayward, Walsh, and then Wiedering. So look, we identified the top 5, just a little different order.
Yeah. So I'll just mention a few others. There are others. They're a bit unlucky. Harry Dean, a superstar. When is he going to get a Rising Star nomination? God knows.
Today, hopefully.
He should because the number of attacks that he repelled one-on-one, he almost never gets beaten one-on-one. He's only a first-year player. It's one of the hardest positions to take on as a key position defender in your first year. So, he reminds me a little bit of Wiedering himself that took on very difficult assignments from the first year.
Yeah.
and his competitiveness. You know what's funny? You ask a lot of those, they do those Colton social media pieces, and they always ask who their favourite player was or whatever else. So they keep on saying Harry Dean. So they love having him around the club because the passion that he brings and the intensity is just always there. So
yes, the players are very big on him.
Yeah. So he was in my list. Another guy who was in my list was I thought Nick Newman was really good.
Yep.
He hasn't got perhaps as much press as some of the others just because there's been some really flashy performances. But he had another 25 touches for a defender.
Yes.
He got a lot of the ball, and he also uses it really well as well. 421 metres gained, 5 intercept possessions, 14 defensive half pressure acts. Like he's really, really busy player. And so he's the guy we missed all of last year, and you can see why he makes so much difference to the team. And he's another guy I think has gone to another level since Fraser came on board.
Yes, agreed. 6-1% as well, so quite a few spoils. 2 and 5 tackles, 5 intercepts, and 5 ground balls to go with those other stats that you mentioned. Who's next?
Look, I'm going to mention this guy had only 9 possessions, didn't kick a goal, but he had one of the best 9 possession games that you'll see. His stat sheets looks dreadful, but it doesn't tell anything like the story that he is. This is a guy who got back repeatedly when he was needed and forward when he was needed too. He laid 5 tackles. But his greatest moment came when he took on 2 of Geelong's best forwards, 1-on-2, and managed to get the ball over the line. That's Frankie Evans. He got the meat tray. Got the meat tray for his efforts. But look, that was just sensational. And he reminds me a bit of how well Fogarty was playing in 23, where Fogarty didn't hit the scoreboard at the time, but his pressure acts were amazing. And I think Frankie Evans is playing that role at the moment, where it's not what he does with the ball, but what he does when he doesn't have the footy that really impresses. So don't look at the stats, look at the impact that someone like that has. I think he should get picked every week if he plays like that.
Yes. Yep, he's certainly a notable player. Anyone else you got?
Well, another guy who actually didn't win much of the footy, but I love his intensity, is Taylor Byrne. Only had the 6 touches, just the 1 goal. He kicked, that was a nice goal, but just the 6 touches. But he had 5 tackles, including perhaps the biggest tackle of the game, like we said. It led to a crucial goal in the last quarter, really did. So again, those acts of like Evans and Byrne, they didn't kick the goals themselves, but they make the conditions for that possible while they're running in intensity. Look, another guy who has copped a bit over in recent times, and still people not appreciating his worth, but Blake Acres came back into the team. He didn't have a great 2025. He probably deserved to start in the reserves. He could have dropped his head and saw out the year and then perhaps sort of trade because he's got 2 years on his contract. But he was excellent in the twos. He put the work in and week out. He was great. He finally got his job opportunity when unfortunately Matty Carroll went down. Both the whole were out, so he's got his opportunity. He get 20 touches, but most importantly, you could again see him running to space to add another person to the contest. He's probably leapfrog Cottrell for the moment. You're going to say
he had 20 sprints.
There you go, 20 sprints. I mean, it's again the work that he does when he doesn't have the footy was really important. And you're adding up these guys. They weren't the headliners, but they were the ones to help make everything else possible.
Yeah, they certainly deserved underrated votes if we had them. 20 disposals, 5 marks, 5 score involvements, 1 goal assist, and 313 metres gained for Blake Acres.
Very good game coming back, I thought. it was great. A guy who we haven't been totally enamoured with for much of the game. We thought that he was probably just going through the paces, getting the same number of touches every week. But I thought Chera had a pretty good game this game.
Yeah.
A better game than previous games. He lifted.
We've remarked on his new switch to the wing.
Yes, yeah, I think
Yes.
it's enabled him to probably do a bit more with the ball when he's got it and use it a bit more, and I think that really sort of showed. So, yeah, I thought he was much improved in that sense. So,
Yep.
yeah, well done. He was
19
pretty.
disposals, 460 meters gained, 5 marks, 4 score involvements, 4 inside 50s, and 17 pressure acts as well. I love that pressure acts.
Yeah, well, we love the pressure acts. See, those two things, those 460 meters gained was the highest in the team. Now,
Yep.
when's the last time Cherry got the highest meters gained in the team?
Yeah,
And also the 17 pressure. For a guy that's been criticised for not doing enough of those work when he hasn't had the ball, for him to have 17 pressure acts is pretty damn good. And he got the goal. How did he get the goal? By laying a fierce tackle.
Yes, yeah.
So, hats off to that. That was good. I thought Hewitt was great with 22 touches and 19 pressure acts. I think that might have been a team high. With Hewitt, another guy who always plays pretty consistently, but perhaps had that bit of extra impact this time. I also wanted to thank Lockie Cowan played on Jeremy Cameron, right? Now, officially, Cameron got the most goals in the game 4, but if you've ever seen Jeremy Cameron play, some of the goals are just impossible to stop. He's that kind of player. But there were plenty of instances where one-on-one, he really took it up to him.
Yeah.
And for a guy who's not used to being a key position player, I thought that was impressive. Because the problem with playing someone like Wiedering or Harry Dean on him is, yes, if it's a high ball or whatever else, they're going to be able to punch it. But Cameron is not only tall, he's really quick. His pace is amazing. So they decided to go with Cowan on him, and he could have got off the leash, but I thought Cowan did a pretty good job. He also had 422 meters gained, so he's one of our highest rebound players as well, and I think he led the team in rebound 50s. Not a bad game all up.
He has one of the best stat sheets of the lot, I reckon. 20 disposals, 9 marks, 2 of which were intercept marks. 80% disposal efficiency, 6 intercepts, 5 score involvements, 415 meters gained, a mammoth 9 rebound 50s, and 6 1%ers.
There you go. That's a pretty full stats sheet. Yeah. All the while playing on your opposition's best forward and a guy who's routinely kicks a bag on us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good, pretty good game. I thought Ben Ainsworth was great again. I mean, he's been 25 touches, 422 meters gained, laid 4 tackles. He's another guy just been a great pickup, I reckon. Yeah, Ainsworth. A couple of these guys I'll race through a bit more quickly. Flynn Young was great in the second quarter in particular. That was important because we'd weathered the storm in the first quarter and we're well behind. It was the second quarter we made our move and really evened it up. We kicked 4 goals to 2 that quarter and he kicked 2 of them. And he could have had a third. Almost got a third, almost 3 goals in 1 quarter. So he was lively and energetic, and I talked about how he was pretty good with the pressure acts as well. A guy like Flynn Young, he's going to need a few games in the ones to really find his feet, but he knows his way around the goals, and that's pretty damn handy. I would say about Flynn Young is he knows how to kick goals. If he keeps the pressure up, he'll be that complete forward. What he doesn't want to do is become the Matt Owies of Carlton, because Owies was one of the guys who was the critique on Owies was he didn't do enough when he didn't have the footy. So Flynn Young, if he keeps kicking well, if he knows the goals, but also puts the pressure on, he's going to be a huge addition to the team.
Agreed. Yeah.
So it's good. I thought Brody Kemp was pretty good. He was pretty good on the pressure acts, kept leading all day long. Of course, he kicked that big goal late. He kicked the goal early, but that big goal late in the last quarter as well, which was pretty crucial. And your man, Billy Wilson, I thought he was fantastic. 13 pressure acts, 22 touches. He was really lively for much of the game too. I just like how he backs himself in.
Yeah, just
He's another
really
one of
takes
those
it on.
guys. He
Yeah.
just needed a block of time in the AFL. He needed to back him in for a block of time, which they have, and they're starting to pay dividends. So he's good as well. So look, I could have named practically everyone on the team, but that's quite a few players for me who I thought a nod to.
Yep. I only have a few more to add. Ollie Florence, as usual, very consistent, 19 score involvements, 19 disposals, 5 score involvements, 18 pressure acts, 4 rebound 50s, 363 meters gained. Good job to him. Nick Haynes, 14 disposals, 4 marks, 5 intercepts, 4 rebound 50s, and 7 1%ers. Again, consistent. And Ison, 6 disposals, but he had 6 score involvements, 2 goal assists, and 1 goal, and 13 pressure acts. So quite a lot of impact for his only 6 disposals there.
6 touches. Yeah, like I said, these guys have brought passion and enthusiasm.
Yeah,
and it's not just what they do with the footy, but also what they do without it. So, yeah, a lot of players to note. There's virtually no one left.
they the whole team, but yeah, that just shows how good of a all-round performance it was, and we've been seeing this trend across the last 3 weeks too. We've been talking a lot about different players, and yeah, it's such a good aspect to see. So we've encompassed in 40 odd minutes that round 12 review. What a marvelous game it was. But now we need to turn our attention to round 13, King's Birthday Eve against Essendon. Let's bury them.
Well, it'll be the first time in a long time we'll go into a game as favourites and raging favourites at that. Look, if we play like we did last week, we win by 10 goals minimum.
Yeah.
So that's probably the yardstick as to whether we really come ready to play.
And if they play like they did against West Coast with their appalling disposals and I was there to see it, and I've never seen a worse team kicking to each other. They were trying to share it around to the West Coast players. Almost like
they are a rubbish team at the moment. There's no way around it. Look, the danger is, firstly, you should never be complacent, but sometimes when you're playing a poor team, like the skill level, everything goes down to that level. And what instead, I want to see us maintain our intensity, our effort, our run, our cleanliness with the ball. Just because if we get up by 4 or 5 goals, I don't want to see us just bomb, from the boundary line. And I want to see us try and set up goals. I want to see us use the ball effectively. I want to see us chase and put pressure on the 50 meters, inside 50, all of those things. So I think there's a lot of, this will be an interesting game to watch for that level. Do we keep it up? Do we keep up the pressure and the intensity? But this really is a game we can and should win by a fair margin.
Yeah, precisely. So look, we hope we can really capitalize on a team, and we need a percentage boost as well if we want to be competitive if it comes to a race for top 10. So
this is our percentage, which is 87.5, is by far the lowest it's lower than anyone above us. And the lowest percentage in the top 10 is 93 for Western Bulldogs. So Collingwood's 99, North Melbourne's 97. So we've got a fair bit of work just to get up. In like adding 10% to your percentage at this stage is hard work. But you could add 4 or 5 or 6 perhaps with a big win. So I think that'll be if it comes down to the wire, that could be a disadvantage for us. So I don't think you go into a game just thinking about percentage though. I think you go into a game thinking about, we've won 3 in a row by doing a number of really fundamental things well.
Yeah.
And all those things. So you talk to your players about the importance of continuing that and the importance of of getting that right, and then the results come. And it's about maintaining that intensity, focus, all of that, even if you're winning.
Yeah, for sure. So that is key. Predictions to make it nice and quick. I think obviously I'm certainly going to tip us. I think it's going to be the first time I actually tip Carlton since round 4 or whatever it was against North Melbourne. And since then, I haven't had much faith, but now finally we do. So I think a nice 42-point win would be good, and a whole host of stars. We want another 18, 19 players to talk about. Maybe let's go to 20 actually. 20 players to talk about in our notable performances section.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna tip us by 54 points, 9 goals.
Yeah,
because I think we're right in this, and we're gonna throw everything at this. So I'm tipping a big win because I think the boys are in the mood. They're hungry, and unfortunately for the Bombers, I think they're a bit of a mess.
New coach, same problems, or even worse problems. So maybe they should sack their interim coach as well.
Well, to be fair, he was only playing one game. I've heard those jokes on the internet. I think there's a fair bit to say that it's much more than just the coach. And when your list is bad and your players are not, clearly some of those players not putting enough in. I think there's more than just the coach. So the spotlight, once the coach goes, I think the spotlight's on the players. It's up for them to step up. But they're not playing a team that's out of form themselves. They're playing a team that's hungry and suddenly have something to play for.
Yes, so we're there to play our style comprehensively. It would be the aim. So thank you for listening in. This was a real long episode, but quite comprehensive and very informative too. We didn't rabble on about anything. So I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll catch you soon next week. Up the Baggers.
Calm the Blues.